It is 4 p.m. We're bringing developing news.
And the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. The headline at this hour, the Department of Justice confirms that Henry Alcantara, Bryce Hernandez, JP Mendoza, and Curly and Sara Diskaya are now considered protected witnesses. That's amid their alleged involvement in the flood control mess. Justice Secretary Boying Remulla says the five have been providing documents, ledgers, and notes that could help identify people involved in alleged corruption. He stresses, however, that being classified as a protected witness does not automatically confer state witness status or guarantee full immunity from prosecution. Remulla explains that the DOJ must still evaluate who truly qualifies. The agency is now coordinating with the Senate to formalize security arrangements and to evaluate the full extent of the testimonies.
DPWH is moving in on officials and private contractors allegedly involved in the flood control scandal and other anomalous government contracts. In a media briefing this morning, DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon revealed an initial list of top personnel now facing investigation. Show cause orders were issued to several regional directors and district engineers, and they're now compelled to explain their either lavish lifestyles or involvement in supposed ghost or substandard projects, as well as potential evidence tampering. DPWH has also asked the Anti-Money Laundering Council, or AMLAC, to freeze almost 500 million pesos worth of motor vehicles owned by people tagged in this flood control scandal. They include luxury cars belonging to Henry Alcantara and his former assistants Bryce Hernandez and JP Mendoza. The freeze order, if it comes to pass, will also cover the vehicles of private contractors like Curly and Sara Diskaya. Meantime, the agency, the DPWH, also wants to freeze the air assets of Ako Bicol Party List Representative Zali Ko. These assets are come up to about 4.7 billion pesos and were registered under several of Ko's alleged companies. At the moment, Ko is reportedly on medical leave and is seeking treatment in the United States.
And here are the other stories we're watching this Wednesday, September 24. The House Committee on Infrastructure will suspend its hearings to give way to the investigation of the Independent Commission on Infrastructure. House Infracom Chairman Terry Ridon says Speaker Boji D will formally turn over all documents and evidence gathered by the committee. The ICI is led by former Justice Andres Reyes.
The names De La Rosa and Aguirre appeared in the redacted pre-confirmation brief filed by the ICC prosecution on crimes against humanity charges against former President Rodrigo Duterte. They are alleged to have been involved in the national rollout of Duterte's anti-drug campaign. Senator Bato De La Rosa was, of course, Digong's former PNP chief, while his first Justice Secretary was Attorney Vitaliano Aguirre.
Vice President Sara Duterte says some Philippine officials entered the detention unit of her father at the ICC under the guise of welfare check. She warns that such actions put the former leader's safety at risk and claims that the ICC and the government would be held accountable if harm comes to Duterte. Sara also claimed that the move was carried out on President Marcos's orders.
And Malacanang has assured that President Bongbong Marcos faces no imminent security threats. The statement comes amid questions over his lack of public appearances in the last few days following anti-corruption protests last weekend. Palace Press Officer Yusek Claire Castro said that the president's absence is simply due to a lack of scheduled public activities.
And joining us today, Storycon's resident political pundit, Rol Llamas. Is he already online or not yet? Well, habol daw siya. And from the Philippine Star, of course, you have Editor-in-Chief, Ami Pumintuan.
Hi, happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. It's a hump day today.
Ed and Reg. Ang yayaman nila, no?
Oo nga, Ami. But the first thing that we have to clear up is anong difference ng witness being under
Protected
the
witness,
witness protection program sa protected witness ka lang. I don't know the difference.
Merong inisyong statement si retired Justice Antonio Carpio about it. Witness protection, you have to turn over all your assets muna daw.
That's
Bago
it?
ka maging witness, under witness protection. Para kung saka,
Well, yeah,
kung
that's one of the
merong
elements.
asset na kailangan i-turn over, ha? Saka under evaluation pa, yung ibig sabihin lang nung protected witness, binigyan lang ng bodyguard yung witness.
Physically,
Okay.
may bantay ka lang.
Okay.
Oo, kasi medyo delikado. Kasi, maraming threat can come from anywhere, hindi ba?
That's true.
Hindi mo malaman na kung sino nga ano dyan.
That is true.
Kaya
That is very true.
poproteksyonan mo muna because their testimony is important.
Ang under
Pero
the
yung
Witness Protection Program,
kasi may legal ramification yung
Correct.
witness protection.
Yes.
Mawawala yung yung culpability mo, criminal liability.
Yes. And then it could extend as far as having to shepherding you to a safer place, whether it's in the country
Yes.
or outside
Could
the
be a
country.
change of identity.
Could be a change of identity. So meron siyang framework.
Yes.
So okay, so the difference essentially is meron ka lang bodyguard if
Well-
you're a protected witness.
the main difference is, well, they're both very well guarded. The main difference lang is,
Yes.
under the Witness Protection
Yung
Program,
asset.
you are talagang endorsed by state prosecutors for immunity. Hindi siya automatic immunity. It's endorsement by the WPP program to the court that this witness is a state witness providing vital evidence and therefore he should be given immunity as well. Ang protected witness, wala namang ganun eh. Wala ka pa dun sa next level which is witness protection program. So parang, I suppose parang initial step to. Bantayan mo na yung tao para wala mangyari sa kanya while we see what you have to offer.
Pwede pang i-reject ng court yung witness protection application.
Pwede. Kasi hindi naman
Yeah.
discretion ng DOJ
Ng DOJ.
bigyan ng immunity ang tao eh. It can only endorse. And it's the court that says that you're discharged as an accused.
Which court
Yes.
can decide that?
The RTC, I think the RTC.
It has to be an RTC.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a criminal case, so RTC automatically, at the very least. So may ganung dynamics yan eh. It's not automatic, but malaking bagay yung endorsement ng DOJ at ng prosecutors if you are to move forward as a state witness.
Okay.
So
So
at this point, may bantay ka, siguro meron kang Kevlar.
well, naka-vest.
Talaga.
Naka-vest na sila.
In the same way, na for example, si Janet Lim Napoles, pag nag-appear rin dati sa courtroom, para siyang protected,
Yes.
well, hindi siya witness, accused, pero protected siya.
Naka-helmet
In the sense
pa siya nun, di ba?
Yeah, pero hindi siya state witness, kaya siya nakulong.
Yeah.
Okay. Very
Kasi
clear.
siya yung tingin nila most guilty, di ba?
Very
Dahil siya daw yung nag-design nung pork barrel scam. Although yung iba naman ang sinasabi, ibang tao, di ba, senador daw yung nag-design actually.
Okay. Ikaw talaga, Ami. Marami na deja vu kahapon dun sa tatlong senador at dating senador. Na
I like
parang,
your explainer on it. Oo nga naman.
may
Oo.
deja vu.
Yeah.
Kasi
Same
nga.
names.
same people, same names. We're not
Same
casting
people.
judgment on them.
We're just saying that these are the same names from 2010.
Yeah,
Oh,
in 2001 in the case
2001,
of Jinggoy, although hindi pork
Yeah.
barrel in 2001 in Jinggoy, but if you do recall, the first time Jinggoy was jailed with his father, si Erap, that was
With his
over
fun,
the
plunder yun.
that was over the Hueteng Payola and the excise tax kickbacks. And Chabit Singson, if you do remember, testified
Yeah.
that si Chabit kasi ang nagbibigay ng ng kickbacks.
Oo nga, siya.
Siya
Oo.
mismo nagbibigay ng kickbacks kay Jinggoy daw. So si Jinggoy yung parang bagman. That was his allegation, Oh, okay.
Na-clear eh. Kaya allegation na siya ngayon.
Kaya nga, I'm emphasizing it's not my, it's in
Yeah.
the court records. That's the first time. The second time was in 2014. Sama-sama sa doon ni Bong
Sa
Revilla.
PDEF.
Why am I laughing? I'm not should be laughing.
Oh. Oo nga. And then kay San Joel was
2008.
Sibak.
It was a 2008 case when he was still Sibak party list congressman. Sibak, it's citizens,
Sibak.
parang citizens anti-crime group
Oo.
eh. And anti-crime and corruption. Anti-crime and corruption group.
Whatever. Naman.
So
Whatever.
that was only 10 million kasi at that time kasi when you talk about these monies maliit-liit pa yung mga pinag-uusapang amounts 10 million that allegedly
Malaki na yun noon, considering
okay.
inflation.
Equivalent to about 50 million now. If you
Malaki siya.
equivalent.
when you go beyond 6 digits hirapan na magbilang But anyway.
So he was also at that time ordered by the Sandigan Bayan, convicted by the Sandigan Bayan.
Si Joel Villanueva?
Oo.
No. The ombudsman kasi has the authority to dismiss administratively.
Yeah.
Iba pa yung criminal
And disqualified from public office.
Pag criminal case kasi, the Sandigan Bayan will file a case. But administratively, it can dismiss somebody even without a criminal conviction. So the Sandigan Bayan, based on the evidence that it had acquired on the 2008 case ni Joel Villanueva dun sa Compostela Valley, found him guilty of gross dishonesty and
Gross neglect of duty.
for 10 million pesos of his pork barrel and ordered him dismissed from the public service in 2016.
Yes.
At which time he was already a senator.
Disqualified, Yeah.
Ang problema kasi...
Hindi sinunod ng Senate.
ang problema kasi...
Protektahan ng Senate.
Yeah. Although mukhang may basis din yung Senate kasi if you look at the Ombudsman Law of 1989 ba? Or thereabouts, ang sabi ng Ombudsman Law, meron lang jurisdiction, walang jurisdiction ng Ombudsman in punishing impeachable officials and members of Congress and the judiciary. So, meron dong technicality.
So it's one of those instances na the Senate did not listen to the Ombudsman.
Yeah.
Saying that you can't discipline one of our members. Kami lang pwede mag-discipline sa members namin, which is how the case
Of
went
course,
away.
they will not
essentially.
discipline. They will not discipline their
Napag-usapan
members.
kahapon with Attorney Raymond Fortun. Parang, binalik niya ba yung pera? 124.5 million.
Hindi pa.
Kailangan daw motion for ano yung term na ginamit niya?
Implementation. A motion
to implement the order.
Motion to implement the order. Mukhang wala na
And
ng
the
follow-up
motion to implement can be opposed, hindi ba?
Mm.
They can oppose it
Oo. Wait, we have somebody from the IBP who we can talk to about this among other issues, among other legal issues.
Sige.
We bring him in. Attorney Igon
Wala pa yata
Cayosa.
siya, nandiyan ba siya?
Attorney Igon Cayosa, can you hear us?
Good afternoon.
Yan na pala.
Ayun, magandang hapon po. Attorney Cayosa of the Integrated Bar of the
Parang
Philippines.
the line is a bit shaky.
Oo. Sir,
Attorney Cayosa, can you hear us?
Hi, attorney.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Ayun. Okay.
Okay. Take off? Who wants to take off?
Go.
Sir, a lot of issues that were on the table yesterday. We wanted to ask you about some legal issues. Among them, yung witness protection, restitution, and all that. Pero if you don't mind, medyo hugot ako ng konti dun sa pinag-usapan namin just before we brought you in. Yung case po ni Senator Bong Revilla, this former Senator Bong Revilla, remember in 2018, siya po ay na-acquit ng Sandigan Bayan dun sa case sa plunder, pero na-convict yung kanyang chief of staff kasi sa kanya dumaan ng pera. I forget how much already, so many 100 million but at the same time, dun sa desisyon ng Sandigan Bayan, meron pong nakalagay na kailangang ibalik ang 124.5 million na mga akusado sa National Treasury. Parang wala ho kami nabalitaan na may nangyaring ganun.
Well, ganun ho naman ang ating sistema ng hustisya. Pag hindi na headline, nakakalimutan. But the decision has become final, and it is still the legal responsibility of the accused na ibalik yan sa National Treasury.
Pero sir, for example, si Richard Cambe, yung chief of staff ni Revilla at that time, has already died. He died in prison in the Bilibid during the height of the pandemic. So that's already one off. So what's the next step, kumbaga? Anong dapat mangyari ngayon?
Sino na pwede mag-file noon?
Who takes the next step?
Can the state do it?
Of course, it's not only can, they should. It is the legal responsibility of the prosecution, the DOJ, to demand payment. And kahit namatay na yung mga akusado, their estate remain liable. So dapat mga prosecutors pina-attach yung estate niya, mga ari-arian niya, kung meron siyang naiwan na to satisfy the judgment for the civil liability to return the stolen money.
But sir, you're talking about Cambi, I suppose. What about the former senator? Meron ho ba siyang pananagutan? Kasi meron pong discussion doon as to whether or not si Revilla should be considered one of the accused to return the money, considering he was acquitted in the case.
Well, usually the civil liability attaches to the criminal liability. So in this particular case, it would be the accused who were found guilty. Unless, of course, there is evidence and the decision specifically requires anyone accused. Kasi nga, yung criminal liability, kasi you have to prove it beyond reasonable doubt. So, ito naman, hindi nila ginawa. Ginawa naman talaga nila. Ninakaw talaga nila yung pera. Pero kulang lang ang ebidensya to convict then Senator Revilla. So if the court finds that there is preponderance of evidence for the civil damages, pwede naman nilang habulin pa rin yung kanyang ari-arian.
Attorney, may separate nga dun sa civil damages eh. Kaya pinapabalik nga yung 124.5 million which Revilla's camp is contesting. Sabi nung abogado niya, pwede naman mag-file ng motion sa korte yung gobyerno kung gusto to implement the order para magkaroon na ng final ruling dyan sa pera na yan kung ibabalik nga niya o hindi. Sinong gagawa nun, attorney? Yung DOJ ba o yung OSG?
Well, it will be already the OSD because the OSD is the lawyer for the Republic. Yung DOJ ho kasi
Yes.
the criminal aspect yan. So tapos naman na yung criminal. But you know, these two agencies, they just coordinate with each other. As a matter of fact, kahit nga wala siya ng motion, the court should have executed that already. Because it's part of the duty of the court to see to it that its judgments are executed. So, diyan din natin nakikita yung kahinaan. Hindi natin alam kung bakit. Normally,
Wala silang implementation power kasi, di ba? Pwede bang mag-order yung korte noon? Halimbawa, sino mag-implement noon kasi? Can they order the banks, for example? Hindi nila pwedeng gawin yun, di ba? Anong magiging process noon if the court wants some entity to implement its order?
Well, what the court has the office of the sheriff. It is the sheriff that is ordered, an employee of the court, a public official who is tasked by the court to go look for the properties of this. So, uunahin nila yung bank, the banks, asking the banks, as if this person has bank deposits. So, the banks cannot lie. When they say that, then mag-i-issue ho yan ng levy against the deposit. So, ipapasurrender yung mga pera na yan sa korte. Ngayon, kung wala na sa bangko, linimas na nila yung mga properties nila, whether real properties or personal properties. So, yun ho ang pwedeng gawin ng Office of the Solicitor General para ma-recover niya yung amount na ninakaw nila.
Pero sir, what boggles the mind is this is 7 years ago
Yeah.
Parang we're all waiting for somebody to do something or something to happen.
And, well, his team is still appealing it, hindi ba?
I don't know. Walang sinasabi si kapon, si
Wala.
Fortun.
Walang appeal.
Naging final na yung decision.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, 7 years ago, yeah.
no use appealing it. But you know, Ed, Ami, sa totoo lang, kung titignan natin ang track record ng judiciary o ng ating justice system, ang daming, di ba, yung mga tax liabilities, bilyones, naging final na, naging Supreme Court na, hindi pa rin na-execute. So, you know, we have so many of these, and that's why I keep on saying part of the problem is the judiciary, our justice system, the prosecutory arm of government. Kasi nga, kulang ng follow-through. That is why many of these crooks, they keep on doing it big time every so often. Kasi nga, alam nila, pwedeng i-dribble yan. That's what's happening in our justice system. And that breeds, when there is delay, it breeds corruption. And, it sustains impunity. Ang dami ng final decision pero hindi naman ina-execute. So we don't know. Kung mahirap siguro mga yan, baka nakuha na lahat ari-arian nila. But, this is a fact that is staring at us. That's why the campaign against corruption should not only be against DPWH o yung ikulong. Dapat tingnan din natin kahit sigaw tayo ng sigaw ng ikulong, mabagal yung justice system natin. In many instances, system is either co-opted or corrupted, influenced or terrorized by the powers that be. So, that's the fact. So the change must not only come from like the implementing agencies or Congress, even the judiciary, the COA, for example, they have to change. They have to reform it. They have to be held accountable also because the delay is too much compared to other countries. 6 months, maximum of a year, 6 months, 3 months, tapos na yan. Nakulong.
Sir, you mentioned tax liabilities na naging final na hindi pa rin na-execute. I don't know. Are you referring to the tax liability of the Marcos estate of which the president is the administrator?
Yes. So he has to come to terms with that also. But ang mahirap po kasi ang problema, there's so many technicalities at iniikot-ikot lang sa mga konti, hindi naging final. I think part of that is the corruption also.
Pero ang problema nga, attorney, sinong mag-i-implement? Kami, hindi nga namin alam Kapag may ganong order, sino mag-i-implement? Saka may penalty ba yung tao na hindi susunod dun sa order? Halimbawa, sinabihan siya, oy, balik mo yung perang yan. Tapos hindi niya ginawa. Wala namang punishment So who implements and who will be accountable kung hindi susundin?
Meron. No, under the rules.
Anong penalty? Naging senador pa nga siya.
Well, precisely because hindi nga natin siya.
Yan na nga.
Kung hindi mo binabayaran, can be liable.
Hindi. Anong penalty siya? Wala siyang penalty Ayaw niyang ibalik yung pera, wala siyang penalty.
If you refuse to obey an execution order without basis, you can be imprisoned by the court. That's contempt of court.
Pwedeng i-contempt ng court.
Yes.
Kung i-contempt ng court.
Pero sir, mukhang the court na is ready for
I don't remember any court citing anyone in
enough
contempt for non-compliance.
But attorney, you're right, no? Even now, this early in this flood control scandal, maraming natatakot it's going to go the way of the PDAF scam, which is hindi yung most guilty ang makukulong. It'll drag on for many years. They'll hide behind legal technicalities. But can you, before we get into all of that, can you weigh in on this big debate of whether restitution is required to go under the Witness Protection Program? I'm sure nakita niyo po yung exchange between Justice Secretary Remulla and Senator Rodante Marcoleta about it. What do you think?
Well, they're both lawyers, the Secretary of Justice and Senator Marcoleta, but unfortunately, the discussion is already bordering on technicalities. Senator Marcoleta insists that wala daw sa batas pagsosoli, but he might have forgotten details of the witness protection law. There's a particular section, Section 5, Paragraph E, and Section 5, Paragraph D, that says that before anybody is put into the witness protection program, he has to sign a memorandum
I think we lost the
Yeah.
line. He has to sign a
Sir, sorry to putol.
memorandum
Legal
of.
obligation. So if you
Yeah,
steal
kukunin ko.
something and you admit you stole it, it's your legal obligation to return.
Sir,
So
sorry, it's
that's,
choppy, sir.
that's
Can you repeat that
provided for
line?
in law.
Sir, sorry, can you repeat that line? You went choppy. Section 5, paragraph E and D says ano po ulit?
Paragraph 5D, Section 5, Paragraph D says, Section 5 says, before you are admitted into the Witness Protection Program, the applicant must enter into a memorandum of agreement with DOJ, with government. And Section 5, Paragraph D says that he agrees to comply with all his legal obligations and civil judgments against him. So, dalawa yan. So, pag magnakaw ka, inaamin mong ninakaw mo, it's your legal obligation to return whatever ninakaw mo. So, that's clear. And then under Section 5, Paragraph D, nakalagay din doon that he will comply with reasonable requests made by the officers and employees of government administering the witness protection. So yung request ng DOJ Secretary, maaari ba ibalik mo muna yung mga ninakaw mo? I think that's not only reasonable, that's necessary, that's very legal. So I think there's enough legal basis dun sa sinasabi ni Secretary Remulla na mas maganda ibalik muna nila para we can consider them. Aside of course from his good argument na moral considerations, ibabalik mo naman yan. Paano naman yung nagastos mo siya, you protect him, you don't charge him, hindi naman niya ibabalik yung kayamanan. E di ginamit mo pangsangga yung Witness Protection Program dun sa mga nagnanakaw sa kaban ng bayan.
So there is enough legal basis to request that of the contractors. Hindi na kailangan to bend the law, as Senator Tulfo put it.
Yes, well, Senator also had a point. It's not really bend the law, but to give priority to the spirit of the law, the intent of the law, not just the technical jargon or the wording of the law. It's the spirit of the law that should prevail. So yun ang ibig Senator Juan. Hindi naman to break the law, but to bend backwards para matupad yung purpose ng Witness Protection Program law. Di ba? To seek the truth, know the truth, and then to seek justice. So how can you be if pabayaan mo siyang he keeps the loot? Di ba? It's basic. So I think there's enough reason for them to require.
Parang creative or spiritual interpretation of the law.
Kasi pag pinayagan daw na under the Witness Protection Program at wala pang restitution, hindi na siya pwedeng ma-require.
Hindi mo pwedeng habulin.
Hindi na pwedeng ma-forfeit yung niya, yung kayamanan niya. That's under Republic Act 6971, Section 14. Tignan niyo, 6971. Yun yung tinuturo ni Justice Carpio. Kaya sabi niya, without the legal obligation of restitution at pinayagan yung witness protection, that would be the perfect crime of plunder. Yun ang sabi ni Justice Carpio. They get to keep everything that they stole.
Instead of punishing them, you incentivize the plunderers.
Yeah. Oo nga. Yun na nga. Mas maraming magsalita ka lang tago mo na yung kayamanan mo. You get to keep everything, including those 40 cars, yung mga aeroplano, yung mga helicopter. Yan. Yan ang sinasabi.
Attorney, I wonder if you know anything as well about Republic Act 1379, which apparently allows the forfeiture of illegally acquired wealth. All you need to do here, all the government needs to do here is allege that a public official or their family possesses wealth that's not commensurate with their lawful income. Mas mabilis daw essentially i-prove. So if you're earning this much monthly, paano ka nagkaroon ng Lamborghini? Paano ka nagkaroon ng Porsche, for instance, right? Based on, and the lawful income will be based on the will be based on your tax returns and so on and so forth. So there's documentation. I wonder if you could talk us through that. May alam po ba kayo doon?
Yes, that is an old law at ginamit yan sa mga sequestration cases. The ill-gotten wealth, unexplained wealth law is the easiest law to use. But, because sometimes the prosecutor, the justice system is also captured by the plunderers, hindi nakalimutan na yan. But you're correct, it's one of the easiest laws to prosecute. Kasi nga, if you can show that the income or the wealth or the asset of a public official is significantly more than his legal income, yung nasa salin niya, nasa sweldo niya, and legitimate na negosyo, then you just show that, and then the presumption, ill-gotten wealth, and pwede nang i-forfeit, kukunin ng gobyerno. It is now, pari-reverse yan, it is now for the suspected government official to prove that those were legally acquired. So mag-shift ang burden of proving. Hindi na yung presumed innocent. So that's a very nice law. They used to use that in the plunder cases. Mga crony noong panahon ng revolutionary government ni Madam Cory Aquino. But mukhang nakalimutan na nila kasi nga bumalik with a vengeance yung corruption. Pati yung ating oversight institutions like COA, Ombudsman, Tanod Bayan, and then mga courts natin, Sandigan Bayan, RTC Court, all the way up to the Supreme Court, in a number of instances, it looks like they've been corrupted or they've been captured by stolen money that these grafters acquired. So it's sad, di ba, na hindi nagpo-progress yan. But you're correct. It's good that it's being pointed out.
Actually, sir, but that's the same law.
They haven't been
Yes,
using
sir.
that law.
Sir, it's the same law that was used to get back yung Marcos Swiss bank accounts, resulting in yung GR 1521544-2003, where we got back $680 million in ill-gotten wealth from the Marcos family. Pero yun nga lang it still took the government 16 years. so it may be the easiest law to use, pero umabot ng 16
Maybe
years.
it's because may offshore component. I wonder if that has something to do with it. It's harder to retrieve the assets and prove
Switzerland dyan eh.
and because it's Switzerland with its its
Yeah.
secrecy
The
and
Swiss
banks.
Supreme Court waited for a final ruling from the Philippines na ill-gotten wealth yun. Nung nakuha nila yon, binigay kagad sa atin yung pera. And it's the first case for Switzerland na ganong restitution, and they were so proud of it na hindi na sila pinaparkingan daw ng dirty money. Yan ang sinasabi nila noon. They were so proud of it, kaya disappointed sila na walang nakasuhan. Merong ninakaw na pera pero walang magnanakaw.
Yeah. I recall kasi reading that Supreme Court decision dahil they set a baseline first. How much were the assets to the Marcos family in 1965? The asset declaration as per their income tax documents amounted to mga 180,000 pesos only in 1965. That's the couple already. Tapos yung total earnings as President Marcos and Minister of Human Settlement si Imelda, maabot lang ng 18 million pesos for 20 plus years. So, ang laki ng difference between the $680 million and yung 18 million pesos na legitimate earnings. So, yun ang dahilan kung bakit nabawi yung pera.
Well, the fact that it involves other foreign jurisdictions can be a minor reason why there is a delay. But we have many other cases that are purely within the jurisdiction courts, but they still suffer delay. My take, the delay is not
Tanong ko lang
is
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. You were just getting choppy lang. Pero sir, go ahead, sir.
The delay kasi is not accidental. If you examine very carefully, the delay brings yung kung mabilis yan, pero patatagalin nila. So, if there's more time, there's more for threats, for violence, or bang classic case, yung magnanakaw, aambunan niya lahat, pulis, barangay captain, barangay tanod, yung korte, yung warden, hindi siya makukulong, wala siyang ibabalik. That's the reality. And, that's what the statistics show. That's what the cases filed before how many courts in our land show. Masyadong mabagal ang ating justice system. Pinagtatawanan lang yan ng mga kawatan. Di ba? You listen to them. Yung mga grafters, sila ang mayabang, matapang magsabi, ihabla niyo kami. Why is that? Why are they not scared? Because they know they can influence, they can co-opt, they can threaten, or perhaps buy the justice system.
Attorney, mahirap bang patunayan yung plunder case? Kasi I noticed saka sinabi na rin yun ng ibang prosecutor, government prosecutor, mas nabilis daw kung ipapile na lang nila, which is what they're doing now, bribery na lang daw, saka malversation, dahil mas madaling patunayan. And anyway, wala din naman daw piyansa yung malversation. Tama ba yon?
Well, tama ho sila because the revised penal code is much simpler. Kasi nga, that was done panahon pa ng magulang natin, so simple pa ang buhay na ito. Yung plunder law kasi, the Congress, because I suppose some of them wanted to protect themselves kasi historically sila nga yung nagnanakaw big time, they made it more difficult because in plunder, it must be a series of transactions. You have to show a scheme. Also, it did not help that the courts and the Supreme Court, put many other technical requirements na kung babasahin mo yung batas, simple lang dapat. Pero kung basahin mo yung jurisprudence, hindi pala ang daming mga technicalities. So, part to blame na rin yung judiciary na they've been leaning too much in favor of the accused. Lalong-lalo na sa plunder, yung pagnanakaw sa bayan. Di ba, malinaw yan eh. Ang dami ng malinaw na may ninakaw, hundreds of millions. Malinaw yan. It's not even question. But nobody is held responsible. How can we have a justice system like that?
So, non-bailable ba yung malversation?
Kung mataas ho yung amount, pwede. Kasi nga, iniba na nila yung, na-adjust na nila yung mga amounts to determine the bail. So, maaari ho. And tama ho naman yung to these old laws that are much simpler to prove.
Yes.
At yung jurisprudence yan, hindi ho kagaya yung mga planter. Kasi yung mga planter, big-time cases yan eh. So you just could imagine, big-time yung mga akusado. So you just could imagine the influence, the political influence, and the financial considerations that they can, wave around pag sila ang nakakasuhan. Yung mga malversation, usually may small-time government officials lang yan. So if you look at jurisprudence, straightforward, simple, madaling i-prove.
Yun na nga, sir. I mean, I think one of the concerns as well is that obviously we're dealing with very high-powered people that have a lot of resources. So
with billions in assets.
We're talking billions in assets, right? We're talking tens of billions of public money that disappeared. So the worry there is, of course, they have all the resources in the world to hire, very capable, high-powered, influential lawyers, right? But the fact that yung IBP, the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, which is the national organization of all lawyers in the country, the fact that IBP teamed up with ICI, yung independent commission, how significant is this? Does that mean we could all come to within the body, for instance, an understanding na, okay, we're not going to defend the criminals in this case, or is that too optimistic?
Well, it will also be unethical, or it will also be legally possible to demand of every Filipino lawyer not to defend the criminal. Because part of parang doktor din yan na masama o hindi yung tao. Pag doktor ka, pag kailangan niyang gamutin mo. So, that's a reality. So, but I would commend the leadership of IBP this time that they have promptly offered the network of the lawyers, because we have chapters in every city and province, no, to help in the gathering of evidence, perhaps. So,
So, naputol na naman si Sir.
Wala.
Some interesting things sa Daga po. There were other successful cases of civil forfeiture of hidden wealth by public officials. Parehong general eh. Lisandra Badia and wife,
Garcia.
former AFP Chief of Staff. Lisandra Badia,
Yes.
na pagdesisyon ng Sandigan Bayan and affirmed by the Supreme Court in
Air Force siya, di ba?
Oo.
Tama. Armed Forces.
Amounting to 11.2 million declared unexplained wealth forfeited in favor of the state. Parang late compared to
Late
sa
pa. Pero matagal na kasi yan, Ed. Malaki na rin yan noon.
mga 20-something, 2013 ba ito? Another one is Danilo Mangila, retired police general, assets worth 15.8 million ordered forfeited. Sandigan Bayan decision affirmed by the Supreme Court as well.
Si Carlos Garcia, pero siya he got to keep some of his wealth
Tsaka nag-ano ata siya
The controller.
Nag-plea bargain ba siya?
Plea bargain siya.
Oo, so umamin siya.
Let's see
Kaya
if we
malaki
have...
yung maitago niya.
let's see if we have Attorney Cayosa back on the line. Attorney, are you there? Naputol talaga. But anyways, he was saying that he has to commend the leadership of IBP for volunteering the body, the group, to help in this investigation, because the IBP, of course, has chapters all around the Philippines, and they can help, I guess, with the
Gather evidence.
with the case build up, right, in this massive case. And today, inulit nga ni DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon that he believes that the problem is much, much bigger than Bulacan. Bulacan is just a microcosm of the corruption issue. Pero, of course, he doesn't have a figure in mind kasi 3 weeks pa lang siya on the job. But
And that's only one district in Bulacan.
it's only one district, correct? But he suspects na maraming ganito all across the Philippines. So we're
Pero
dealing with...
yung order niya ngayon covers officials all over the country na ng DPWH. Yung lifestyle check niya covers other regions as well.
Because there are 123 engineering districts all over the country. Bulacan first is only one. And you're talking about billions already.
Kasama na dyan yung Metro Manila, officials in Metro Manila, hindi lang Bulacan Central Visayas, I think parts of Mindanao, nandyan So hindi lang siya ngayon, nationwide na yan, yung explanation for lavish lifestyles or allegedly subpar
I think we might have
projects.
Attorney Cayosa back on the line. Attorney, are you there?
good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
So Attorney, you were saying that you commend the leadership of IBP for volunteering the group in this investigation. What are you hoping that the national group of lawyers will do?
Well, one, they can make use of the network of our offices in all provinces and the big cities of the country, because we have voluntary lawyers there and we have officers in every chapter. They can help in fact-finding and documenting yung mga anomalies all over the country. Kasi Bulacan pa lang pinag-uusapan natin at Mindoro, but there are many in other provinces. So the lawyers there would know if they can. Secondly, for those who may not trust government lawyers, ay maaari naman na yung free legal aid lawyers ang tutulong sa kanila to document and to advise them what cases to file, and of course everything will be in coordination with ICI and the prosecutory service of the country, mga fiscal. Thirdly, it would be good if the lawyers in the different provinces do what we're doing here. Media will also do that, to ask the lawyers to explain what are the possible laws that can be used and what are the accountabilities of public officials, what kind of evidence would be sufficient, would be material and relevant. Makakatulong yung ganun because every Filipino lawyer is a member of IBP. They're required. So we also have resources. We have staff and we have offices over the country, it will multiply the manpower of ICI. Kasi yung pag-a-appoint ng isang tatlong committee, one consultant, that will not be enough because it's so pervasive in our country, rooted, na baka tapos na ang termino ng ating presidente, wala pang masyadong nagagawa yung ICI. So we wish them luck. So maganda yung ginawa. We accept that everything is on a voluntary basis.
Only common knowledge kaya sa mga judges and justices na they have the power to order defendants to comply with their orders. Halimbawa, yan na nga, ibalik nyo yung kinuha nyo sa gobyerno. Alam kaya yun? Would you know? Kasi parang walang pambihirang-bihira yung nakikita namin na yung judge talagang tinutugis yung yung defendant na oy sumunod ka sa akin. Alam kaya nila yon? Or or talagang it's an act of omission on their part. Wala na silang pake, basta eto na order ko, bahala na kayo dyan.
Well, first, the judge has to know because the rules and the law. But it will not also be proper for the judge to be the one proactively doing this because it has to be.
Yeah. Nawala.
We
may
might
have lost him again.
lost the line again. Attorney Cayosa, are you there? Naputol ulit. Sorry.
Kaya
We
nga,
apologize
sino
for that.
kaya mag-implement nun? Taong bayan na lang mag-implement.
Yeah, I guess us.
Di ba? Taong bayan na
If
lang.
we
Balik
kailangan...
nyo, ninakaw nyo.
No, we have to keep the pressure up, right? And continue talking about it para it stays in the headlines, it stays in the discussions online para maalala ng mga tao na, okay, by the way, hindi pa pala na sasole yung pera even though it was ordered by Sandigan Bayan already.
Ang hindi lang clear sa akin kasi parang, okay, so kaninong next move? Sino yung last touch?
Yun na nga
Sino last touch?
Malinaw.
Should the
Ako, hindi malinaw sa akin
OSG on its own motu proprio file a motion to implement? Or should it be the court, the Sandigan Bayan, which should have...
Attorney Cayosa says it should be OSG at this point. Kasi civil na.
Kasi
That's
ang
been 7 years,
complainant dyan
so
is
what
the
happens
government Di ba? Kung meron kasing individual complainant, madali-dali. Ikaw maghahabol, di ba? Yan paano yan? People of the Philippines yan
Kasi parang nag-iintayan tayo
Dapat yung gobyerno. Yung gobyerno, di ba? Sila dapat ang hahabol nun.
Yeah, actually, yun nga sila yung may
It's
legal personality to...
Medyo mahirap din kasi nag-change na ng admin. So, I guess at some point, walang handover. Parang yung master plan for the flood control project.
You mean sa OSG?
Diba? Yeah, because there's been a change of administration, there's been a change of solicitor generals.
Paano naman between 2018 to 2022, that's 4 years. Apo na taon din yun. Ano ka?
Kasi kung may private complainants na maghahabol, di ba?
Let's talk about,
Let's talk about weather na lang.
Let's
Attorney Cayosa is back online.
Bumalik siya? Ayan, okay. Attorney.
Good afternoon again.
Yes, sir. Sorry for the line.
Sino yung mag-implement, attorney?
Well, for final decisions of the court, it is the duty of the court to see to it that it is executed. May sheriff naman sila. Kung kinakailangan na mag-file ng motion yung fiscal, the court can remind the fiscal to do that. Because it's the power and duty of the judge does not end when he makes a final decision. Pag natapos na, nag-appeal at lahat at na-sustain siya, it is his duty to implement or to execute yung kanyang decision. Kasi useless naman yung finding of guilt. Tapos wala ka namang marirecover. Hindi naman nakukulong yung hinatulan mo. So, nasa rules of court, Hoya, it's still part of his responsibility and his power to execute those final judgments.
Sandigan Bayan.
So responsibilidad ng judge ha, attorney, responsibilidad dyan ng judge.
Of course, but that's why the judge should work in tandem with the prosecution kasi hindi naman pwede mag-motion yung judge, di ba? Yung prosecution should do that. But once those things are done, the court has see to it na ma-execute. May sheriff siya eh. He has the power. They can open bank accounts. They can look at property records, and they can levy. They can attach. They can levy. Kukunin nila yung mga properties na yan. That's within the power of the judge. That's the job of the judge and the sheriff.
Okay.
Di ba dapat
we'll
lagyan ng
leave
timetable yun? Yung
Sorry.
halimbawa, o-ordering ka, ibalik mo nga yung pera. Di ba dapat bigyan nyo ng deadline para medyo malinaw-linaw yung order? Hindi ka pareho nito. Ilang taon na tayo naghihintay.
Parang in
Wala pa
secula
rin
seculorum eh.
nangyayari. Oo, hindi ba dapat may deadline yon?
Meron naman dapat deadline. Ang problema, ine-enforce ba nung justice system natin? Kung minsan, flimsy reason lang yan. Kahit alam nila kung nasan yung akusan, sasabihin niya na, wala ako sa bahay, walang tao doon, nag-change address.
Yeah.
And then, yung petty things, yung mga flimsy reasons not to execute, nangyayari ho kasi kung minsan yan. That's why, maganda pinag-uusapan ito, gisingin na rin natin ang ating justice system. Kasi kasama sila sa problema. Yung pamampayagpag ng pagnanakaw sa kaban ng bayan, malaking dyan, yung impunity, yung bang hindi natakot ang mga kawatan. Kasi alam nila na pag nakanakaw sila, kaya nilang impluwensyan o bilhin yung mga nagpapatupad ng batas, yung mga prosecution, yung mga juez, all the way up to the Supreme Court. Ang dami hong nabibinbin na kaso eh. Yung bang, maalala yung sinabi ng dating ombudsman na merong parking fee? Totoo yun eh. Yung bang magbabayad lang sila para hindi ma-execute, hindi gagalaw yung kaso.
Parking fee. Pinarking yung kaso.
Correct.
Pinarking yung kaso, no?
So,
Yes, that's
Attorney, in
common
short, what
knowledge.
you're suggesting is pati yung IBP needs to clean up its ranks.
No, hindi ho kami kasi nga hindi naman, of course, because the judges and the fiscals and everybody
And the
is a
lawyers,
lawyer.
yeah.
But they are the public officials. They hold the power. They have the legal responsibility. They are accountable public officials. Hindi ho naman lahat ng private lawyer pwede nating utus-utusan eh. Diba? Pero yung mga nasa gobyerno, sinumpa ang duty nila. Unfortunately kasi, they are under the radar. Kaya nga maganda pinag-uusapan ito, and that has always been my campaign, yung justice bilis. Because it's not enough that ihabla mo eh. Ang daming nang hinabla, pero ang mas maraming nakakalusot at mas marami ding nadidribble. So, yung dribbling, yun ang tignan ninyo ang record ng judiciary, ang dami ho diyang nakatago, refer to drawer, kumbaga, nadidismiss na lang because masyadong matagal na.
Yeah.
Ending ganyan na kalakaran na bang postpone, everybody agrees, and then bigla na lang sasabihin ng akusado, I invoke my right to speedy disposition of the criminal case. And they grant that. Kasama din ho yan na method, escaping liability.
Yeah.
So, and that's why yung promptness, yung justice bilis is an indispensable component of an anti-corruption campaign.
Yeah. Okay. We will leave the conversation there. We've run out of time. But thank you so much for your insights today, Attorney Egon Cayosa, former IBP president.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Attorney.
Just before we go,
Maraming salamat. Good afternoon po sa lahat.
see former Senate President Cheese Escudero has been invited to appear before the ICI. And he was also, he did a quick interview with the media just this afternoon, and natanong siya ano yung reaction niya to Congressman Ronnie Puno, Deputy Speaker Puno, saying that si Cheese and Congressman Zaldico ang pinaka-responsible for the controversy around this 2025 national budget. Ang sagot po ni Senator Cheese Escudero is that's a mere diversion. And on that note, we shall end this show today. Thank you so much for joining Storycon today. I'm Ipamituan, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star. Join us again tomorrow, 4 p.m. for Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. We are One News all sides all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.